We talked last week a little bit about sort of the success of the defense, and you weren't necessarily worried about the offensive output. How nice is it to see 4 goals poured in, and specifically someone like St to get a break?
Yeah, I felt we were really good value for those 4 goals. I think the stats would show that. We had some really good chances in the build-up to that. I felt like it was one of the most efficient performances, I would say, in the sense that we didn't have, I think we maybe had 40-45% of the ball, but we used the ball really, really well and made big chances from a relatively small amount of possession, and I felt like we always played with a really good rhythm, which is what I feel this team almost needs to be with the players that we've got. We've got players that are very sort of goal orientated. They want to make things happen, they want to attack quickly, and we've almost built the team around that. And I think in the games at home recently you've seen that at its very best, and none more so than with Sang Bin, who was at his best. It was really nice to see him playing in the position that he wants to play, having a chance to play closer to the front, and us seeing the benefits from that.
You've never been someone to shy away from making sort of sweeping substitute patterns in the second half. How important is it to have those guys actually contribute when they get in?
Yeah, I think it's important on a number of levels. The first one being that we want to approach the playoffs with a real sense of squad, feeling that we've got 16, 17 players that are in really good rhythm, that have all contributed very meaningfully to the form over the course of the last 10 games. And I also think it's very important that the players that are coming off, we're bringing off players that are in their own right huge contributors, players that we look to for goals, assists, chances, some of our most important players. There's got to be that level of trust that if we're taking them off, we're bringing on players that can bring the same level, and at that stage in the game, if not more, given their energy, sort of feel like it was a really justified change. And I know the guys would have been disappointed coming off, but they'll look back knowing that was a really justified change, and one that leaves us in a really good place when I look at the forwards as a group as a whole.
First playoff experience for you, first playoff experience for many of the players too. Given that it's a best of 3, how do you approach, game 1 versus game 2 versus a potential game 3?
Yeah, I think we will just take the approach that we've taken over the course of the last 10 games, which is we've had 10 what have felt like cup finals for us, games that at every turn of real significance, games that we feel like to lose would be a real setback. So we've really tried to take one game at a time, put everything into the preparation for each of those games, and we won't do any different against Salt Lake. I think we can go there knowing that we've had 2 good performances against them, particularly very recently there in difficult conditions, so we've got something to lean on there. But we'll take this game on its individual merit. We, probably 2 games on, have evolved again. I would say they will look slightly different for a couple of players that they've missed. So it's making sure that we really sort of individualise our preparation for this particular game, and then once it's wrapped up, we'll see how we look for the following one.
And it is a bit of a budding rivalry now, given what happened in the last game and sort of the recency of that. How important is that sort of intensity as you approach?
I think it's great. I think we're a group that really thrives on that, needs that almost, and I feel like we will have that from minute 1 against them. There's obviously a sort of sour taste that's left a little bit post that game that we played there, and there's been very little between the 2 teams that anyone could pick up on, I think, over those 2 games. So it's one of those where I feel like if we're at our very competitive best, it's certainly there for us.
We finished the season strong with a 4-1 victory over St. Louis, notably the team record season high for 2024 in goals scored. How can the team continue this upward momentum into round 1 best of 3 series?
Yeah, I think obviously we've been performing well, and it wasn't just the last game, but I think you look at the last 10 games, and even after Leagues Cup, we've really kind of bounced back after that rough patch in the middle of the season there. So I think we're a team definitely in form, obviously scoring a lot of goals. Hopefully we can break the record next year for least goals against and break that record too. But I think obviously there's a lot of confidence in our team moving into these next games, and we're not just happy with making the playoffs. We want to kind of keep pushing as well.
This season, Minnesota have found results on the road. What is the most road wins, 8 and counting? The team will travel to Utah. How will the team prepare this week to continue to find results on the road?
Yeah, I think it's the mindset. Obviously, we went there a couple weeks ago and we were able to get a tie, but obviously this time going in a tie won't be enough. We're definitely going in with the mindset to get the 3 points and then come home and take care of business in the first 2 games. I think it's definitely our mindset. Obviously, we have a lot of confidence because we've done great on the road this year. And we know that our style matches up against anybody, and we're a team that's really playing, and we feel like a lot of teams are fearing us right now.
Last time you faced Real Salt Lake, the match ended in a 0-0 draw. The only time the team has had a 0-0 draw this season. What can you take away from that match, and what do you hope to do differently this next time?
Yeah, I think obviously there was a little bit of an incident at the end of that game too, so I think that kind of is definitely thought in a lot of our heads. So I think there's a bit more extra motivation, especially going into this game. And I think obviously 0-0, we know it will go to penalties, and I feel confident in those moments, not only in our shooters but in myself. So at the same time, if we don't concede in the 90 minutes, we have a good chance of moving on and getting the 3 points as well.
You talked about tying and going into penalties. How do you prepare mentally for that?
Yeah, I think as much as I can impose myself on the shooters and try to affect them even before the shot gets taken. Obviously, I feel like the pressure's not on me. I think from 11 yards out, they should be scoring. So it's just trying to really show them how much pressure that is on them in that moment. And I know that I feel confident that of 5, I'm going to get at least 1, if not 2 or 3. So I think it's just kind of pushing that envelope and then believing in our guys that we're going to take care of business on the shooting side.